The last snow days in Lantarna will be coming to a close, but there will be a pair of alchemists that will warm our hearts in the new Legend Fes Breakdown video. This is the 15th episode this time, and I'll also be covering Sterk later in this video, so enjoy some hot cocoa. Now, before I start this Legend Fes Breakdown video, I would like to say that this is the last episode that I will be using Japanese version B-rolls, as the next update on June 10 will now include the English and Chinese titles for all characters' leader skills. So the next Legend Fes Breakdown video will now be using mostly English dialogue moving forward. So, and let's start this Legend Fes Breakdown with calling Snow Rorona, because snow halation. Rorona is more or less a slash supporter. As you can see, it's a bit of a grayish brown. Now, skill 1 is a decent heal to all allies, much like if you have in the SN30 Pro. Rorona inflicts only 63% damage, 7% stun with a 106 of weight, so it's a decent healer nonetheless. Skill 2, however, is on Sunveil, so this is quite supportive. Now, this does not attack, rather she'll just do this cute animation where she forms two papers together to make a critical guaranteed crit rate for the next turn. Well, actually, it's for an ally this time. So this also restores her ally's target by 9%. So whichever you select, you will be able to guarantee that turn for another attacker. Say in the demo battle, we had to use Ruben to demonstrate how Rorona's skill 2 will be useful for few attackers that want to take advantage on defeating solo bosses. So you can use it on other attackers. I mean, the obvious choice here. So would I need her? I mean, it's not much, but it is a decent supporter, unless you're in a rush to get a few scored battles done and through, since Story Chapter 8 will demand speed, and also the battle panels are not randomized anymore. So if you need someone to engage critical attacks immediately, say like if you have Beatrice, Izana, and the other attackers, then Rorona will be able to use it and take advantage of this skill. So if you have another recommendation for this skill 2 would be Logi, since he'll be able to take advantage of this as well. They're the same attribute as Rorona, but not necessarily like it's restricted to slash attribute. You can use it on other elements as well, so it's not restrictive. Pretty much Sunveil is the next attacker's good support, because heal and also critical attack, so it's a guaranteed one nonetheless. But do note that the next Rorona variant will likely have something more interesting, so later down the line. Well, Fluffy Noodle, gosh dang it. Cue the B-roll, please.
素敵な時間にするよ。それ。さあ、行きましょう。ここが見どころです。綺麗ですよね。ありがとうよ。
I'm not actually tired of this one. I just felt embarrassed saying the Fluffy Luminous part, but anyway, her burst skill does not attack actually. This is only stackable twice, so this allows her to boost all allies' physical attack by 50% with a maximum of 30, and restores all of her allies' HP by 30%. This is a big help, especially if you're going to use Strike, Stab, or Slash team. Rorona will be able to use her burst skill if she lands on her burst panel, then good luck to that, because you're likely going to need it in physical tower floors, or you can take advantage of that in the upcoming story chapter 9 to 11. I mean, it's going to be a rough time for magical teams out there, so if you need Rorona in preparation for the next chapter, you could consider getting yourself a favor if you don't have physical supporters down the line before this. So you can take advantage of the Fluffy Luminous verse skill, but I gotta say, I would recommend keeping that as optional priority, not like your top priority for now, unless if you want her for some out, for like her beautiful wardrobe. And I gotta say, her passive is Destructive Overload, boosts skill damage by 24% for all allies. That is nice. And paralysis resists up by 30%, which she will be 70%. She will have 70% chance to be afflicted with paralysis if an enemy does attack her with that status effect. So good on her. So gifts this time are blue to green, Slash Blessing, Fire Curse, and All Recovery first. So alright, switching over to the Japanese version. Meanwhile, in the Japanese version, Rorona has a leader skill called Atakai Kako de Tanoshimo. Should like to have some warm clothes, please. Now, this leader skill allows for seasonal characters to get critical damage buff up by 30%. If you're wondering what those seasonal characters are, you can check in this list right here. Still, we don't have Halloween Black at the moment. So, she's listed 3 tags, and it's not just the seasonal characters tag, but she's also part of Arland, and last but not least, Tenen, because, my gosh, they're all cute airheads, am I right? Alright, switching over to Totori, because I already have her, but I'll show that Totori on this side later. Second to the Arland duo this time is Rorona's disciple, Snow Adventurer Totori. With her magical stats being the highest, which is 731 and 1010, you can expect that she has an average speed of 241, but oh boy, 2,500. You're a strong girl for such, cutesy, fanservice clothes, but I digress. It's all kawaii. So, skill 1 is Wind Kiss. Apparently in the Japanese version, it's called Windo Bese. So, damage of 73%, 70% stun with 106 of weight. If you have Sophie and you use her skill 1, you might be familiar of this effect, which allows to let Totori heal her HP by none to 30% depending on her HP. Basically, the lower HP she gets, the higher the range that she will get to heal. That is starting at a quarter to 100, so at 25% or below, Totori will always get the highest HP heal boost. But as she gets closer to getting her max HP, the healing amount that she will get lower. So kind of like not to overwhelm healing power for now. Skill 2 is Sephiroth's Breath. If I were to check out the Japanese version, yeah, it's also in the Japanese version, that's Sephiroth's Breath. Interestingly, I do like this animation because the wind carries her up above and then throws a gust of wind to her allies. This allows to boost all of her allies' magic attack damage by 24% per 1 turn, but if she were to get hit, this applies for 2 attacks only, so this allows her to heal all of her allies' HP by 5% for 2 attacks if the enemies were to hit her twice, like 2 turns. So, yeah. 10% total. I guess it's more or less the blood that she has to heal towards her allies. Then Sephiroth's Breath will allow other allies to heal in case if you're using a solo healer that only targets 1 attack and that healer gets overwhelmed by group attacks. So Totori is more or less going to be a substitute heal for group healers. Then you can also use a weak healer or a solo healer to allow Totori to keep her healing up with, then use skill 2 to think of it as an emergency heal in case if your supporter healer is down. So quite interestingly, that is more or less a semi supporter and more on the defender side. You can tell because of the very high magical defense stats and high HP. So consider that like this one is more or less like a supporter skill. So Totori Sea Parade.
すごいもの持ってきてるんです。どうですか？驚きましたか？そうね。
Totori separate attacks all enemies with 300% damage with 37% stun with 206 of weight, which is a weak stun damage to be honest, but I don't think defenders have the best break defense anyway. So after attacking, this allows her to boost all allies' attack by 30% for one turn. This also allows to grant her the ability Duplicate Worm to herself. In the Japanese version, it refers her as the Nukuburi Duplicate. So the passive here, this allows her to reduce her own damage received by 20% when receiving HP recovery. So they think that is not necessarily apply heal to herself, but rather this allows her to grant this ability after using her burst. Then you can use your healers or her own healing skill to recover, to reduce her own damage received. This is feasible in the late stage of the battle, especially if there will be enemies that will keep stacking attacks, or they will be using duplicate attacker burst panels or strengthening panels on them. So if you want to survive the battle a little bit longer, then the Nukuburi duplicate from Totori's side could be useful to stack up to reduce her, to debuff her own damage received. That way, enemies will slow down their strategy to debuff her defenses, like at 1/4 of it. That's just the approximate, or 1/5 at the very least. So Totori is actually a very good defender. Like, even if you're not gonna use her in story chapter 9 to 11, you might need her in the upcoming Academy event. I will have to share that details later, but she is a very good magic defender, I gotta say. Like, other than Sophie being an offense defender, where she will try to debuff all enemies' resistance, Totori, on the other hand, is more on mostly defensive defender, so think of that for what you will. And I forgot this one. This one's pretty cute. All eyes on my fluffy outfit. Of course you're wearing a turtleneck sweater, genius. Now this allows enemies to attack her more often, but after using a skill, she'll be able to restore her own HP by 5%, so... And regardless of how many times enemies will try to attack her, unless the enemy will use strengthening or burst paddles, Totori will be able to handle a portion of her health damage taken per turn, so it's a small loss for each turn nonetheless. Air Blessing, Stab Curse, and Skill Power-Up, and yes, her trait colors are red to purple. I'm gonna switch over to the Japanese version. Meanwhile, in the Japanese version, Totori does have Oshare Oshite Basho. I mean, let's go on a date, I guess. That is her title of the leader skill. Now, those who are in adventure tags will get all stat buff by 15%. These are the following characters currently on the book and on the adventurers group. She's also featured as other than Rorona, other than her master Rorona, she's also part of Arland seasonal set, of course. There's also Falling White, Rorona, and Adventures. So straightforward, I guess. But I will have to record Sturk's B-roll tomorrow. I think this is where I decided to do a little bit of a video editing magic. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and let's check on Sturk in the next shop. So this is the next night. Apparently I had to practice a little bit for the B-roll. If you want to check out how I use Sturk alongside Merudu and Piris for this trial battle that I did on a score battle. So Sturk has a unique kind of using his air breaker skill set. While his heavy slash is more or less just no effects with 87% damage with 23%, which is it's okay-ish, just slightly lower damage to compensate that with the better, slightly higher stun damage since he is a breaker from using breaker roll. Now, skill 2 is quite interesting because while you can see that his damage is around 227 and 141% stun with 206 of weight. There is both benefit and a disadvantage depending on how you're going to use him throughout the battle. So if you were to use his skill 2, he'll be able to boost his own skill damage, but at a cost of reducing his own stun damage by 20 to 80. Now, the maximum cap that Sterk can reduce his stun damage, well, it's likely going to be at around 61% at maximum once he reaches as his 4th or 5th skill 2 use. However, because he'll be able to keep attacking enemies faster, he'll be able to increase his damage up to 300% skill damage. Now, depending if you're going to use him as either a breaker or an attacker, it's up to you if you want to let Sterk break enemy shields faster at early stage, or if you want him to attack enemies stronger in the late part of the stage. So it's like you want him as a little bit of a break stuff at the beginning, and then late part you can just put him on DPS, semi DPS role in case if one of your attackers will be losing out in HP count during the boss battle. So Sterk can be a backup attacker in late stages, and also a breaker as a backup breaker for early parts of the battle. And now Bravewin just rolled the B-roll.
覚悟はできているな。本領発揮といこう。見せてやろう。私の究極非容疑を。でや！これで決める。
His burst damage does cause 340 damage and 303 stun with 206 of weight. This is only for one enemy, do note, if you can think about using him. He can boost his own skill damage by 20%, which by the time he's able to use his 3rd burst panel, then he can reach at about 380% total damage while maintaining his stun power, break power at 303. Now, I guess it is since he starts at a one-star character unit. His break damage is not much to take home about. Probably stronger than a single attacker that can have like a level 3 burst skill at the moment. Now this is just on level 3 Bravewin. I haven't gotten to level 5 star yet, so it will increase. I can show you the max out stats that I can screen cap it from the Japanese version if you want to check a look. So his passives this time, or abilities, Rising Spirit. Now whenever he keeps healing, he'll be able to heal his own stun damage by 2% with a maximum of 20. So I brought in Memoria to test if Sterk will be able to alleviate some of the break damage debuff. When he is able to defeat an enemy with a skill, he'll be able to remove his own negative effects, which is only for one turn. So what happens is you can temporarily offset the debuff that he got from his skill 2 break damage debuff. This only works for one turn, so if there's going to be an enemy of 5, he can debuff 80% for an enemy of 4 just for one turn. If he can juggle, he can keep defeating enemies while trying to offset his damage debuff, break damage debuff. You can also use stun boosting damage to alleviate some of the debuffs, but it is just only during the battle, so it will just reset anyway at the next battle. Now, fortunately, Sterk will not be intimidated by enemies that will inflict taunt on your allies. So he has 70% chance to be resistant against taunt. So if you have him, I guess it's more or less a good decent character to get, but not much if you want to go 5-star on him. Just note, if you have Eska 5-star, It's going to be a comparison on whether or not you would need a resistance debuff from Eska, or if you want to take advantage of Sturk's increased damage during a few dungeons where risk 10 dungeons. I haven't actually cleared one in the Japanese version, so take it for granted if you will, but I will have to consider either Eska for better air break consistency, while I can consider using Sturk for either break or attacker role early to late stage. His color gifts this time are red to purple, with his traits Change of Charge, Air Curse, and Stun Damage Boost. Now meanwhile, in the Japanese version, Sturk has a leader skill called Kishi Do no Oshie, where Arland characters will get a skill damage boost by 30%. He has 3 tags, so he is part of Arland, Knights, and Dragon Slayer. Now this is why I had to play the Eyes of the Dragon music in the background, so you can tell that I've yet to explore Atelier Rorona. You can check out my YouTube channel if you want to check my past live streams playing this game. So, yeah. Onward to the featured Memoria. The featured Memoria for this Legend Fes Banner this time is Together in the Snow. And you can tell, Rorona and Totori are having some fun time at the snowy capital. Now, this is a magical defender favorable stat, if you can see, with 23.75 HP with 33.75 magical defense at its highest. Now, interestingly, this ability allows those who equip the Memoria has air affinity. When hit by an attack, boost all allies skill damage by 8% for 1/3. Imagine this would be like, it's kinda similar to Sophie's Memoria on the first Legend Fes Breakdown banner, where she'll be able to boost the skill damage for 1 turn if she gets hit. Now, this is for Totori. If you're going to notice the description of this passive for this Memoria. Now, you can use it on other air characters, but to be honest, this is pretty useful for Totori even as for rank 1 though. Now, don't expect the skill damage to be as high. I would recommend still using the memory pieces if you want to upgrade this Memoria, if you like this design. And yeah, it's seasonally beautiful, although it's out of season. I mean, it's already summer though. Now, I would have to say this is going to be it for this banner. Now, the verdict on this one is, well, more or less, Totori is a valiant defender. She can also heal other characters if your allies are getting attacked by enemies that will target all enemies, so it's a group attack favorable. Totori will be able to heal your characters and also boost attack and heal. So I'd say it's a beautiful choice together, even though the next Legend Fes banner will be favorable towards physical teams. Meanwhile, for Rorona, I'm valiant support, good for preemptively activating critical hits. Now, I gotta say, this is like the best looking Legend Fes banner ever, and I couldn't take care less. So yeah, nonetheless, oh yeah, as for a start, it's a decent hybrid attacker breaker. Just don't expect his burst to be as powerful as the upcoming breakers will do. So that's going to be it. Thank you for watching, like, share, subscribe, and as you can tell, the preview that I'll be showing, yeah, this is what to expect for the next story chapter, and I won't be showing it in full. I will see you guys on the next Legend Fes Breakdown video and live stream form. So yeah, goodbye, and don't let the bed bugs bite or nightmare.